Hi everyone, Andy here at Spymaster Gaming. Welcome back to the channel. A very warm welcome if it's your first time joining us. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at what I consider to be probably one of the most versatile, cost-effective starter sets into miniature wargaming that was first produced in 1998 and is still available to this day at a really affordable price. But before we go any further, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and ringing the bell for notifications. I'm still new to YouTube and trying to grow the channel, so anything you can do to help would be greatly appreciated. So, what's the game, I hear you ask? Now, the game that I've chosen, it sprang to mind after watching a video that Tabletop Minions posted the other day of his experiences at Gen Con, and he came away with a game called Cyberpunk Combat Zone. It had 12 really nice sculpts, just 12 miniatures and some terrain, and people were saying it was exceptional value, and it was about $130, I think. That doesn't scream good value to me for 12 figures, but the name Combat Zone made me think of this game that I've had sat in storage for a while, and it is what I would consider exceptional value for someone who's never picked up any figures or touched the hobby before. And it is just called Combat Zone, not Cyberpunk Combat Zone, just Combat Zone. And it's by a small company called EM4 Miniatures based in the UK. And as I said, was first produced in 1998 and is still available now in the same format. So I'm going to go over the contents of the box, show you why it's so versatile. We'll go over the pros and cons of it as well. But I think you'll probably agree with me on this that it is something that you don't see nowadays in the wargaming hobby as much as you get for the price. And of course, I'll cover the price at the end of it. So here we go Combat Zone by EM4 Miniatures. So first off is the quite garish box art reminiscent of Mad Max Road Warrior, simple bullet hole graphics and the rust and metallics offering quite a nice color palette there. The 3D renders of the models contained in the box are very dated by today's standards, but it was supposed to obviously imitate a video game, and then it does showcase what the actual models on the terrain look like within the system. So it's obviously aiming to be like Necromunda in its style, but it does have its own thing going for it as well. Quite a cool, funky little artwork on the box there. Onto the rulebook. So, using the same cover artwork from the box, quite a chunky rulebook actually for a small skirmish game. That classic black and white art, which was found in a lot of the 90s skirmish games, Commander and Mordheim carried through here. You've got a decent amount of background there, and not the biggest rule set in the world, but it does have its own campaign system at the back as well, which is nice to see. Um, it uses D8s and D4s, which was uncommon at the time, as well as D6s to differentiate between different types of models, and has a relatively streamlined turn sequence, which is probably easy for beginners to get into. And it plays differently from anything else that I've come across as well. The layout in this book is really clean, nice and easy to follow, and more of that really gritty artwork, which I absolutely love. I mean, look at those weapons there. They're really, really unique looking. And yeah, honestly, it's a really nice self-contained product where most starter sets will give you a thinned down copy of the rule book. This is the full deal. There's no other bigger version of the rule book, and yeah, a full campaign in the back as well, which is really nice. In addition to the rule book as well, the box set comes with some tokens. These are printed on quite thin cardstock, not the best quality, and they will probably get worn quite quickly. But if you were to just stick them on another piece of card and cut them out, they'd be all right. They'd last longer, and enough there for two players. You know, you're not going to run out there. There's enough to keep you going over multiple games. The blast template's there, similar to again Necromunda in the style, to cover grenades and other such weapons. It comes with a quick reference sheet, which is semi laminated, which is nice. Makes it easy to follow the rules and pick it up and just have it there if you need it. And a starter scenario as well to play through so you can get going straight away. It's quite interesting that, you know, there's still some games today that come on the market that don't even have that. And then you have a whole notepad to create your gang rosters. Um, yeah, just really good. Next up is the terrain from the box set. Now, this is really quite thin cardstock. It's not that durable, I'm not going to lie, but to create a cheap table of terrain when you've not got anything, it's better than using books or cans or other household objects that some rule books suggest that you should use until you get proper terrain. This will do a much better job of it because it looks the part. Also provided with the terrain, as you can see, there is a bag of the clip stands. Uh, Popped a window up there. Didn't know you could do that, but you can do if you want to. Bit of variety, why not? So with the clips in the bag there, you can add more stability to them. You can put bends in them if you want to, so you can get corner terrain, and they snap on easily enough. I would imagine that after a fair few uses that they're going to start fraying, but it's cheap and cheerful. And like I say, on a 4 foot by 4 foot board, you'll have enough coverage there to make a semi decent terrain board. Not bad at all, really. I know terrain's come a long way since 1998, but I still think this holds up somewhat. Let me know what you think in the comments. Or do you think I'm just being too generous with this and that it's not good at all? But I think if you don't know any better, this is more than enough. And now we come to the actual miniatures contained in the game. So 30 scoops, 15 gangers, 10 security personnel, and 5 robots. You'll notice here that I've put them on 28mm round bases. They actually come on hexagonal bases in the set, but for my purposes, I took them off and put them on round bases. So just bear in mind they don't come with the round bases. Dated scoops, as I say, this game was made in the 90s, but they hold up by today's standards, I think. They're all push fit and they have movable arms, and you can pose them how you want. Variety of heads and bodies. You've got 4 male heads, 4 male torsos, 1 female body, and 2 female heads. Shotguns, rifles, pistols, and swords. They do look like bikers. They have a lot of accessories. And while the sculpts may be dated, if you haven't painted anything before, these are perfect canvases to practice your painting skills because, as they're not the best models, you're not really going to care if you don't do a good job on them. But you could still make a fairly decent job of them. So, these security guards, they again have their own flavor, nice visors, the ballistic armor, and similar weapon loadouts. But I just can't get over it. You know, the amount of figures that you've got here, 2 fully fledged forces, and when we move on to the robots as well at the back there, um, just so different from anything around at the time. It tried to merge Necromunda and BattleTech into one set by the looks of it. All of those arms, when you can move them, you can pose them, and then glue them how you want, or you can change them if you want. There you go. I've just proven the point there by knocking the arm off one, and yeah, it's just a fantastic amount of miniatures for a very small price, which I'll come on to in a minute. And honestly, like I say, dated scoops, but they still have a place. And if you're new to it, this is great because you've got such a good variety of miniatures to try out, and you can see what style of game you want to actually play. So there we have it, the contents of the Combat Zone box. I think it's amazing the amount that you get for such a small price. And I know I haven't touched on the price yet, but we are going to get there. But the versatility of the box as well is what's impressive. So the models contained within it have such a broad aesthetic that can be used in different game systems. You could essentially try up to 4 different systems with one box of miniatures. So you can use the rules contained in this set, which you'd expect to be able to do, as there's the rules that it comes with. Then with the gangers, they are so reminiscent of Necromunda gangers, you could use the free rules on yaktribe.com, link in the description below, to use the Necromunda 95 rules, and you could create some gangs to try that out as well. Also, with a system called One Page Rules Grimdark Future Firefight, the security forces and the gangs in this would make 2 very small fire teams that you could use to play against one another with a different rule set there. It's freeform in the list building, so you can pick whatever profile stat lines think best suits those gangers It's up to you, it's in your hands. And then finally, with the robots, you could use them for Battletech Alpha Strike. The rules are available for free on their website, and I'll put the link below as well. And you can basically download some unit cards. Catalyst Labs, who have the Battletech license, they basically allow you to use whatever miniatures you want, so you could easily take them to and play against another opponent, and they wouldn't be able to say anything as well because they're allowed to be used. So yeah, 4 different games from one box. I think that's incredible. So even if you don't like the rules it comes with, you have options to take those miniatures and use them elsewhere. Now, down to the cost. I haven't touched on it yet, but this is it. I'm finally going to tell you. £24.99 in the UK. It is about €30, 32 American dollars, and 48 Australian dollars. Obviously, not taking into account shipping if you're living in any other country apart from the UK. But I think at the base level for what the actual set costs, it is amazing. There's no other set on the market which is quite within the price range. And I think for it to stay at such a low cost over all of these years is amazing. Um, Let me know what you think. Do you think I'm looking at it through rose tinted glasses? Do you think that the age of the sculpts are enough to detract people from actually buying it? Or do you think it is actually a really good entry point for those who've never picked up anything, any form of miniature, any form of dice before, or may want to try and paint something? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one.